You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Yes, it is that time, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right, we're just real men having real conversations for you.
For you.
Right here on your home for healthy masculinity. Hey,
we have a lot of these conversations on like golf courses.
We do.
And that kind of stuff. But, you know, these are conversations that we have kind of publicly, openly, and let people know just kind of random stuff we even ended up talking about.
Yeah, we're kind of sick in the head like that. We have our therapy sessions live over the air.
Yeah.
And then worldwide over YouTube. It's no wonder people look at us funny.
Well, I know why they look at.
Don't be pointing at me.
I'm not going to say it. Man.
I know where you're going with that.
I wasn't. You don't know. You know
what
I was going to say. I was going to say, but you kind of probably know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, you was going to say that. That's why they look at you funny.
I'm saying, I don't know why they look at me funny.
So let me ask you. I know we talk about therapy a lot. We talk about relationship coaching, and and we do our own little bits and pieces here and there. But what's been your experience, sir?
Dude, I've been to a whole lot of therapy, man.
Did you get that psychotherapy? That crazy psychotherapy?
I like to joke that. And I don't think he likes it when I say it, but I like to joke and say, man, my therapist, I probably put at least one of his kids through college. Because, man, I did a lot.
Hey,
a lot.
Nowadays, we all need help. And speaking of help, I think it's time we bring in some help for the Mad Men. Yeah. Welcome to the studio. Tami, pronounce your last name for me because I was just about to murderlize it.
Kiekhaefer.
Kiekhaefer.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Hey, if you change one letter in that, it'd be Kiekhaefer.
Yeah, see?
Just saying.
I almost did that. I was almost going to say that.
Things,
Welcome, Tami, to the show. So for our audience, Tami is a psychotherapist and a relationship coach. She's an author. She does all kinds of cool things. And she was actually promoted to me by one of our mutual friends, Jessica, who does Denver Great Minds in the city. And she's also doing some other stuff. But yeah, we wanted to have you on because Kirk and I need all the help we can get.
You know what I'm saying? We need like a Mad Men bat signal that we just
help,
put that in the air.
Help us.
That thing would be on all the time. It'd be like the donut hot now.
Right?
Like one of those signs out there. We need help
Krispy
now.
Kreme.
We need help now.
I'm here for you.
Whenever the donuts are.
Well, and you got, I was looking at your site. I mean, you've got 20 plus years experience, so you might have enough to deal with our issues. Mm-hmm. So speaking of being a psychotherapist and a relationship coach, tell us a little bit about how you got into psychotherapy, how you got into relationship coaching, and what it is that you what's your specialty and your niche?
Yeah. So I always knew that I wanted to be a counselor ever since high school, and I just kind of stayed the course and worked in juvenile halls and inpatient hospital, outpatient hospitals. I've run domestic violence groups. I've done all kinds of things. And finally, I decided I was ready for private practice. So I opened my doors about 22 years ago. And I specialize in anxiety, depression, relationships, trauma, grief. I've done a lot of work with.
Oh, we got all that. So.
Yeah.
Perfect audience right here.
Yeah, we got all that. Can we get like a group discount on all of them issues?
If I bring in all my personalities, can we get group discount?
We got more issues than Kleenex got tissues. Man, I'm sitting here looking at this amazing book. I'm going to see if I can put it up on the screen here. I got to go the opposite direction. Preparing for the Jungle, Avoiding Snakes and Pitfalls on the Path to Healthy Love. And obviously we'll put that back here later on too, but that's pretty profound in terms of avoiding snakes and pitfalls. Snakes and pitfalls is kind of the thing I pick up on. Snakes and pitfalls on the path to healthy love. Are you implying that there's, first of all, let me say this. Hey, if you want to comment live, by the way, don't do it on one of our personal timelines on social media. Go to the Mad Men page on Facebook or YouTube, and you can comment, and JBK he'll make you famous. A lot of people like to comment. On our personal timelines, and they don't actually know that we're not seeing it. So,
yep.
But anyhow, so back to my question: are you implying by the subtitle of this book that there are snakes as well as pitfalls on the path to healthy love?
There are. Sometimes you're the snake and sometimes you're the pitfall, and sometimes you get wrapped up with snakes and pitfalls. So I always think you've got to be healthy if you want to attract healthy. And so this is mostly about fixing you, because you can't fix other people and you can't control other people, and nor do you ever want to. So it's all about figuring out where you are and attracting healthy partners because you're healthy yourself.
So that kind of leads me right into my first question. So being a psychotherapist and a relationship coach, how much therapy goes on before you even get into the relationship side of it?
Or how much should?
Yeah, how much
Quite
should?
a bit and a lot. Yeah. Because otherwise, you keep going out there and you keep being attracted to the same type of person, and you show up the same in a relationship, and then you wonder what's happening and why does it keep ending. So you really have to step back and figure out what's going on with you and why are you the way you are? Why do you communicate the way you do and resolve conflict the way you do? So it's so much about figuring out who you are first.
Yeah, you see us are nodding our heads on here because,
pretty much.
Yes.
Well,
Amen to that.
I think whenever you hear somebody say all men are or all women are, the truth is that's all the ones that you keep meeting.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, what's the common factor in all of that? I mean, matter of fact, what's the common factor in every failed relationship that you've ever had? And that would be you.
Yep.
And so, but a lot of people, they want to keep doing the same things and expecting different results. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Yeah. That is the definition of insanity. I mean, per definition.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of been my experience. I mean, like you're talking about 10 years ago, I started my personal development journey, and after like 3 relationships, I was like, maybe I'm the common denominator here. Mm-hmm. And so then you have to get into that. Let's dig into our closets and our trunks and all of our luggage and stuff and go, what am I bringing into this? And so in your experience, I mean, especially nowadays, I'm sure there's got to be a plethora of different experiences you've been having, but what are kind of some of the common themes you're seeing when it comes to your therapy and your relationship coaching and how they kind of cross over? Like, what are the main things that you're seeing nowadays that people maybe need to be aware of?
Mm-hmm. I think confidence, when you're not confident, you present yourself differently, you talk differently, you might compromise yourself, compromise your non-negotiables. But when you're confident, you show up differently, and I think that energy is presented, and that energy is attracting other energy that's similar. So I think becoming more confident in yourself, and then also just resolving your past issues, how you grew up, what was role modeled to you when you were little. I try not to spend too much time in the past, but I think it's really helpful to understand, where you are now and why you're in the space that you are.
Yeah, if it wasn't for digging into my past and looking at, emotional neglect and just the kind of how my family grew up. I mean, my parents were both born in Central Texas in the 50s, and so the generational curse was kind of, as long as the kids were fed and housed and clothed, that's all we need to do. So there wasn't a lot of, love or emotional caretaking or a lot of intimacy in those ways. And so this gets passed down. And then, of course, both my parents are Army as well. Mm. And so looking at how my past was taught me how, I became a caretaker and a people pleaser and made sure I had to watch out for everybody else. And then I look at my relationship as like, oh, that makes so much sense why my relationships went the way they did. Mm-hmm. And so it is, it's one of those things, like, I think we were talking off air, is like, I'm very aware of my stuff. I don't always know what to do with it, though. Mm-hmm. Like, when somebody has kind of that past stuff and they're aware of it, how do they get past it? Or how would you coach somebody to use that maybe to even better their relationships in the future?
I think it's to understand exactly your past and be able to evaluate your relationships, but then you kind of have to get out there and do it. You have to.
I got to leave my house?
You do.
Man.
You do.
You got to get out there, man.
Yeah.
Man.
And as much courage as it takes to get into therapy and to call up a counselor and show up and then actually look in the mirror and do the things that you need to do for yourself, that's tough. And it does take a lot of courage. And then the next step is to get out there and practice it.
Yeah, wow. Practice can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
You said confidence. Is there a difference between being confident and being cocky?
Yes.
What's that?
Being cocky is just kind of being douchey. Kind of.
For the scientific-minded people out there.
That's my professional, yeah.
Is it douche or douche? We'll do both of them.
Cocky is just, it's there's really more about being insecure when you're being cocky. Being self-centered, being narcissistic, all those things. I mean, it all comes down to being insecure, and you're trying to overcompensate for things. And I think that with insecurity comes fear. And so when I'm working with someone who's having a tough time putting that guard down, I try to help them understand what their fears are, what they're afraid of rejection a lot of times, afraid of abandonment. I mean, a lot of times that's what it comes down to. So confidence is just, you're being kind and you're being compassionate, but you're also not compromising what's important to you.
Right. Yeah. You can be confident and kind and compassionate and still have your boundaries and integrity. There are a few kind of main causes or stories that we tell ourselves. I mean, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, etc. What are some of those things, and how much do you have to deal with those to get people from where they were to where they want to be in relationships?
Oh, it's powerful. What you tell yourself is I think your perception is your reality, and your reality is how you live your life and who you surround yourself with. So I think that it's about changing that internal dialogue. And at first you don't believe it, but you have to keep working at it. And depending on how ingrained that is, it's tough to change that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been my experience. I know Kirk and I have had a lot of these golf course conversations about, man, I know better, but I'm still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's because of that internal story that's just running into the background, that kind of subconscious story of like, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you have one of those and you're wondering, why do I get the same people? Why am I having the same relationships with different faces? It's because of the belief system and the stories that we're running internally that are basically dictating what we create out in our world.
And I think awareness too, because you can have those thoughts and they keep going over and over in your head and you don't even realize how unhealthy they are and how much it's holding you back. So I think that having that awareness is key, and then challenge it.
Yeah, don't believe your own thoughts.
Yeah.
Because maybe you can, to some degree, write your future by rewriting your past on the, on the scrolls of your future. I'm waxing poetic right there, but
I like it.
But either way, we, to some degree, I think there's some things in our lives and in our future we can't have direct control over. But in some ways, we do bring things into. We do bring all the ingredients to the recipe. And then when we get the cake, it's like, well, maybe you got the cake because you brought all those ingredients with you, to the kitchen.
Yeah, it's not just lucky.
Absolutely. Speaking of lucky,
is it that time again?
Let's get lucky.
All right.
Oh, see, I was about.
You about to get us in trouble again, weren't you?
I was about to get us in trouble, man.
Well, you know what? Before you get us in trouble, we better take that break.
Let's take a break, man. We'll be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC. Boom.
How we doing, Tanner? The audio sounded fine. Kirk just lagged a little bit. Yeah, no, when you were trying to show the book, like, you just disappeared.
Yeah, well, because it kicked me out, and then I had to log back in.
That's right. You were talking. I knew that this audio was going through mine, so I'm like, here's the book.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're teamworking this mess.
But,
see, we're ghetto. We got tinfoil and duct tape over here, but we're making it work.
Yeah, we making it work. Yeah, all that kind of stuff, man.
Also, FYI, next Monday,
yeah.
Someone will be coming in to just give you, I guess, a teaching lesson on how to use the USB port.
I saw that earlier, and I was wondering what that was because it's new.
Yeah, they just, I think, installed it today.
Yeah. Right on.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
Where?
Upgrading things, not asking the controller.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we're improving.
Yep.
All right, speaking of improving.
Boom.
And we're back. Mad Men of Masculinity.
Yep.
Right here on KLDC and on the interwebs. Everywhere.
We're in the Mile High City. You know what I'm saying? Home of the NBA champs, the MLB chumps for now.
I'm telling you, man, you got to be careful with that, man.
One of the Rockies is going to show up here.
They carry bats. They run really fast.
They do, man. And them dudes are big, too, man.
See,
like, you ever seen like a baseball player in real life?
Tick off a baseball player. See what happens.
Them dudes are kind of beefy, man.
Dang.
That's why they run into each other.
Maybe they'll get some runs in chasing you down.
Maybe get some exercise.
So welcome back to the show, y'all.
Yeah.
We've got Tami
Kiekhaefer.
Kiekhaefer.
I'm gonna say Kiekhaefer.
Yeah.
Just because.
As soon I just have brain freeze. As soon as I'm going to say it, I'm trying to read it. My brain goes, no, don't even try it.
I'm just going to say Kiekhaefer.
Kiekhaefer.
Because I'm just,
Our local psychotherapist and relationship coach. So I'm gonna.
We talking about. We started off talking about basically bringing all that other stuff in.
Yeah.
And it does come down to like, especially at a certain age, right? You don't get to be this age and not have any baggage.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've all been through stuff. We've all had. Most of us have had some kind of abuse or some kind of neglect or some kind of heartbreak or heartache. And so we bring baggage in, and at the core of it, if you don't unpack your baggage, it becomes luggage, right? And you end up taking that luggage everywhere you go on every trip you take. And then you add on and add on and add on, and then when you meet somebody else, then they got their luggage, you got your luggage, and somebody's got to carry all that stuff. And so, man, we go around in these circles, man, and Tami, I really just want to know if you can fix Jason.
How much time do we have?
Well, you got 2.5 segments.
Yeah,
you got 2.5 more segments. Can you fix him? What would you ask? What would if somebody like Jason came and sat down? I assume maybe you meet in an office somewhere or Panera.
I like how you throwing me under the bus.
Yeah, I'm totally throwing you under the bus. I don't want her talking about me. I don't want to ask you no questions.
That's all right.
If you and Jason were to sit down for the very first time, what kind of questions would you ask Jason in order to kind of get to know where he is and where to begin?
Be gentle.
No, don't.
All right, let me think. So I guess I'd want to know what you're looking for, and how would you know if you were happy? And
wait! I want him to answer. What are you
No, she's talking. I don't need to answer right now.
No.
So
what am I looking for?
what are you looking for?
Like most people, I want to find the unicorn, the whole package, the soulmate, the twin flame, the person that just matches me and is the yin to my yang. And do I know if I'm happy? That's a good question, because I think I am, but then again, I don't know if I ever have been. So how would I know?
Ooh, that's a deep
this is just this is how I've been.
Yeah.
So this seems normal, but of course, we as human beings can get used to lots of unnatural, unnormal things. So maybe I'm not, but as far as I know, I am.
Normal can be dysfunctional.
At least I am now, because I'm with y'all. But
So based on that, where would you go with that?
I think the unicorn and twin flame, that's a lot of pressure. Does it exist? Does perfect exist? I don't think perfect exists because of all your baggage and luggage that you bring in. That can be a lot of pressure. And so I think that, do you set yourself up to fail? Do you put too much pressure on another person to make you happy? Are you looking for that perfect person? And then maybe, I don't know, they drive a red car instead of a blue car, and then you're out.
Well, yes and no. I think mostly. Yes. I think mostly I put most of that pressure on myself. I think I have the perfectionistic mindset where one of the reasons it's been 10 years since I started my personal development journey, and I've been basically single the entire time, because I'm like, well, I'm not there yet. And so I think I put it on myself, and wanting to understand all my stuff, and then how to work with all their stuff, and then how to communicate that, and then of course doing the show doesn't help my dating life at all. Not really.
Well, okay, so then maybe I'd say get out there. Go. I think of it sometimes as a science experiment, because I think that people can put so much pressure on getting out there and dating. And if you look at it, where you go out there and you collect your data and you say, okay, I've dated this person and I liked these things, or I didn't like these things. Was I able to see those red flags? So how do you know what you're working with until you have some data to look at and examine?
Right. One of the things that, especially because we do the show and I do a lot of research, and it's not pretty out there, especially with the younger ladies and a lot of the Gen Zers and stuff. And so what we see is a lot of disrespect on both sides, where men are disrespecting kind of a lot of the feminist movement, and then ladies are disrespecting men who are trying to be traditional, or they're coming out of nice guy syndrome, or they're raised by single moms, and so their mom did their best they could, but raised them to not be as masculine because they're women. They don't understand how men raise each other, whatnot, and how we become masculine. And so there's a lot of that. Plus, being in my late 40s and never being married, not having kids, it's like there is that, like, well, if I want to have those things, I may have to go much younger, because most of the ladies of my age are divorce with kids, maybe don't want any more kids, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's all these different things where I think my drive for perfection may have pushed me past the finish line and then some.
I don't know. I mean, if you want to go younger, then you go younger. If you don't, you don't have to. You know, it doesn't mean that there's nobody out there for you. I think that it's knowing what you want, and it's knowing what your non-negotiables are. Mm-hmm. And then how do you get your non-negotiables is you understand, you know, what you do want and what you don't want.
Right. And I think that's where I'm getting to the point now where it's like I've been alone this long. I'm pretty good on my own. And so there's a lot of non-negotiables, and they're not a lot, but it's like I'm very strict on, you know, like, is she compassionate? Is she respectful? Is she caring? Are we building together? Like, are we going to work together, and can we communicate together? I think that's one of the things I've noticed the most, especially as I get older, is like, can we have peaceful communication and not the dramatic fighting that happened in a lot of my older relationships?
Mm-hmm. Well, and hopefully as people get older, they have been able to take a step back and learn, you know, what works and what doesn't work as far as communicate. I mean, I can always tell when a couple comes into my office, and I can, however they resolve conflict and how they talk to each other, I really look at that as a determining factor if they're going to make it or not. I mean, they can change. That's why they're here, and I think that everybody can change. Otherwise, I guess I wouldn't do what I do. But how people manage their conflict is huge, because if you can't figure out conflict, then you just have all these unresolved issues, and that leads to resentment, and resentment will kill your relationship. So you have to learn how to communicate and resolve conflict.
Yeah, it's like the 3 R's in relationship.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my wife and I just kind of came across this, I don't know if it's a video or something like that, and it was Gottman's 4 Horsemen kind of thing, and I forgot what they were. But either way, there's a lot of what you're saying in terms of how we communicate and how we interact with each other. And, you know, you can pick up on those and have a clue or an indication to some degree as to the success of people or the chances of people working it out or sticking together. Why are y'all smiling? Did I say something?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I'm smiling because you're the voice in the ethers right now.
Oh, okay. I thought I got something up my nose or something.
You keep disappearing off the screen, but
well, yeah, I'm elusive like that.
Yeah, he's a ninja. He's practicing his ninja skills for New Year's.
But yeah, I mean, but in terms of how we talk and how we interact, you know, these kind of things, you know, I'm sure absolutely have a lot to do with our chances and choices in terms of who we get with and how long we are able to be with them.
Yeah, I actually had an experience recently where I was just kind of filling out this lady, and just the way she was responding to my jokes.
How were you feeling?
It was over text, so it wasn't
like
in person.
Not feeling out. Okay.
That might have been your first.
Just clarifying.
I learned my lesson that one time.
You know, we got people. I'm just clarifying
that one time.
Some people might not like that.
Feeling, you know, me.
But no, like when you're having these conversations, and of course, at the time it may not jump out at you, but I noticed a couple of things, and I was like, this sounds like it's not going to be a good conversation. Like, she's going to be very controlling or very aggressive, not aggressive, but antagonistic. You know, if I'm making a joke and then it's, I don't be like that, or don't make jokes like that, or don't do, and I'm just like, no, I don't even want to deal with it. I'm not even going to go there, because I can just see we're not going to have it's not going to be a good time for me.
Mm-hmm. And you know, if she meets most of your standards, but there's a couple things, I don't say cut and run. You know, maybe talk about it and check in and see. Sometimes people are just nervous and they respond a certain way, or you know, they haven't been out there in the dating world, and so that's where the communication comes in. But I think if you are pretty clear about what you're looking for and they're not able to give you that, I think you have to reevaluate.
How long do you give somebody to make that decision, whether or not it can be salvageable or not?
3 seconds.
What?
No, no. I think that it's a conversation. You know, if you bring it up and they blow you off, then I think it's pretty clear they're not interested in changing or taking a look at things or respecting what's important to you. But I don't know. I mean, you give it, you let them know what you're looking for, and let them mull it over. Let them kind of think about, why am I doing this, and then continue to have a conversation about it. And yeah, sometimes people aren't even aware how they're coming across.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is I basically have gotten to the point now where I'm old enough where I'm like, you know, used to be I was like, oh, don't say that. Now I'm like, let's say it, see what happens. Because basically, if they don't can't take me being me, then it's not going to be a match. And I just don't have the time or the patience to spend weeks texting or whatnot. And that's another thing too. We'll have to talk a little bit about online dating and some of the things going on with online dating, because Lord have mercy. And we've done several episodes on it, but since we've got a professional in the house, we may have to pick your brain a little bit. But
he hates online dating. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and I'm still using it.
He hates it.
I hate it, and I'm still using it.
It's a scary thing. I mean, you never know what you're really going to get.
Yeah, well, that was kind of where I was going with it, because there's lots of filters and camera angles and things, and lots of ladies who take very nice pictures online. And then you ask them out for coffee and realize they're 50 pounds heavier and look 10 years older than their last picture. And you're like, I feel catfished, I feel cheated. And then it's really hard to be nice when you look at them and you're like, you know what you sent me, and you know what you look like, and you basically lied to me, and I'm supposed to be nice to you and buy you coffee?
And now some people got the AI pictures out there. I'm not looking at anybody. Some people got the AI
Hey, some of those are
pictures
good. Some of those look pretty good. I'm telling you. Now I'm trying to keep up with my AI pictures, man. I got to go to the gym just to try to keep up.
I gotta become that. I gotta become that thing. Yeah, he doesn't like online dating at all. I think it's one lane on a dating highway. I met my wife online, and I would say most of the people that I know who have recently gotten married or gotten into committed relationships met online.
Yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, it's definitely, you talk about snakes and pitfalls. Lord have mercy.
Crocodiles,
I mean, man,
poisonous vipers.
I mean, there's more anacondas than Florida on these dating websites, man. You got to go out and hunt them things down.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with some girl that I just started chatting with today, and she was like, "What's been your experience? All I get is people who want me to buy eBay gift cards and one night stands." And I'm like, that's pretty much what most of it is. Most of it's scammers nowadays, and that's one of the reasons I hate it, because even if you try to find a real person, they're so jaded by all the scammers and people who just kind of have no couth that when you're trying to have a conversation to that point of like, you were supposed to be feeling each other out and having conversations and trying things out, and they have no patience, and so you make one little mistake and they're out, and you're like, well, what did I say?
Right.
What did I say?
And then you never know what's going on. I think I have a lot of people who, the conversation, they felt like it was going okay, and then all of a sudden they're just ghosted.
Ghost.
And it does a number on someone.
Yeah,
I mean, I always encourage, at least get back to the person and say, I was dating someone and it turned serious over here, or it just wasn't a good fit. But don't just ghost people. It's just
etiquette would be absolutely great. Speaking of etiquette,
it's about that time to show some etiquette.
Let's etiquette ourselves over to a break.
Yes, let's have that break.
Yeah, let's do that. Mad Men of Masculinity. We'll be right back. And I have no idea why it keeps kicking me out and all that kind of stuff.
I'm telling you, you need that new computer, man.
Dude, I'm going to give me a new computer. I'm going to get one.
Hey, y'all, you see how he's disappearing doing the ninja thing?
Is it just me?
We're starting to GoFundMe.
It really is
it's
just
you.
me?
Now, we've had some Wi-Fi glitches where it's kind of like the Wi-Fi's gone in and out, but you're the only one that's gone.
If it's only me, then that kind of narrows it down a little bit.
All right, everybody, if you want to see Kirk's face some more, we're starting to GoFundMe. If you don't want to, then we'll just cancel him.
GoFundMe for a new laptop. That's what it is. I'm going to get one. I'm seriously, I'm going to get one. Maybe even by this week, I'm going to get one. Something like that.
That'd be nice.
I got to get my poop in a groove,
yes.
man, because
this please.
It just keeps kicking me out. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, and then when we do Thursday nights, it's like you're like a half hour behind.
That is not cool. I'm doing the robot, and I'm not even trying.
Hey, you threw me under the bus, so you get what you get.
You're right.
All right, let's back that bus up again. We'll start over. Yes, we are back.
Mm-hmm.
We are those madmen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been run over, and we're going to back that bus up and do it again.
Beep. Yeah. So how jacked up do you think Jason is, Tami?
On a scale of 1 to 100.
Oh, let's reset. I'm trying to put the book up here on the screen.
Yeah, let me help you out.
Yeah, put it up there because it keeps cutting me off. Miss, do you so your whole name, is it Tamara?
Tamara.
Mm-hmm. Tamara Kiekhaefer.
There's a pine in there somewhere too, right?
There's a pine in there, yeah.
A pine?
That was before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
And then this is the post
Nice. We're talking about...
She got more names than P. Diddy.
For real.
It took me a while.
Snakes and pitfalls on the path to healthy love. I love the term healthy love. We got a lot of unhealthy love going on out here.
Yeah.
We're bringing our luggage. We're bringing our baggage as luggage into relationships, and we're meeting some jacked up people They pair very well with a nice, good pair of luggage.
We got trains full of luggage.
Matching luggage. Like, you ever been to the carousel at the airport and you like, is that mine? Is that mine? And both of y'all go and you grab the same dysfunctional luggage. And, it must be meant to be. Our bags are exactly like, no.
That's a good point. I want to bring that up.
That's like a trauma bond.
Yes.
That's exactly
it. That's my past 3 relationships.
But that's what happens, man. That absolutely is. So, anyhow.
Yeah.
So, how jacked up is Jason?
He's not that jacked up.
No, really. No,
You're being nice. You're so sweet.
You can be real.
You can be real. I know I'm like a 12 out of 10.
I mean, we'd have some work to do. We could do some work.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. See, folks. Even being aware of your trauma and stuff doesn't mean you're finished.
Yeah.
No.
The awareness is the first step. Like,
right.
I have a problem. Now,
right.
What do I do with it?
And
No.
I do think, though, that if more people started with therapy on their dating journey, that they would be better off, because we get in these loops and cycles and all this other kind of stuff, and we don't understand it, and we just keep. And you can get into the pattern where you wound other people based on your junk. And so I think more and more people should start off, eHarmony or whoever else match. Somebody should have like a therapy service. Maybe you got like pass a test, or you got to have like a sign off from a therapist before you create a dating profile. That'd be a great website.
You got to pass a test to get a driver's license.
Website where these people have been at least somewhat vetted by a therapist that they're healthy enough to be dating.
All right, we just found you your new app and your new career.
I mean,
Some
you have
people
to.
are not.
You have to do that when you go adopt a dog.
Yes.
Or get a driver's license
Or
or
get a
anything
driver's
else.
All
license.
kinds of stuff. I mean,
Right.
you gotta sit through a class before you get a concealed carry.
Right.
I mean, you on and on and on and on and on. But in order to get on a dating website, man, you can just jump into that cesspool and.
Yep. Yeah, that's almost one of my first date questions now. Is like, what kind of personal development are you doing? What kind of therapy have you done? Like, how aware are you of your past issues before you put that on me? Like, it's one of those things. Like, how can we have a conversation if we're not even speaking the same language?
Yeah. No, 100%. I think you've got to have your questions. And as weird as it is to flip your questions out, I've got clients who do it. They keep a little card in their pocket, in their wallet, and they've got their questions that they want to know because they're tired of wasting time. Although it could be a little bit strange, but you have to do it in a way where, again, you don't know what you're getting into, and that's why you have to get out there and just practice this stuff, and it's like a science experiment.
Yeah, I'm tired of it.
Seriously,
I'm a mad scientist.
How many dates or interactions or whatever? I don't know if it's a timeline or a number of dates, but how many of those do you give a person before you conclude on who and what they are and whether or not you're compatible?
Isn't there a statistic on that? How within like 15 seconds if you're connected, if there's that chemistry. But I think that I always think you have to see people in different situations. You want to see how they're treating people when you go out for dinner. You want to see how they are driving on I-25. You want to see how they're driving, in neighborhoods in a school zone. I mean, you want to see where's your patience level, how are you in conflict. So I think that you just learn so much about somebody. Those are their true colors when they start coming out. But I think I have this like 6-month thing, and it's a honeymoon-ish. I mean, you can kind of keep it together for 6 months, but after that point, all your little things start coming out. And that's when you really get to know somebody. So I think that people who move really quickly, I mean, a lot of times, if and they just jump on in and it works. But I think most of the time, you've got to give it some time so that you can meet family, meet their friends. Do they have any friends? Do they, just in different situations, you just don't know somebody. How do they spend their money? How do they, can they hold a job? Just things like that.
So what you're saying is I should break up with my laptop right now because my laptop is just acting
That is
very
a
schizophrenic.
toxic relationship.
That is a toxic, traumatized laptop.
Yeah.
What you been looking at on that laptop? Why is it so traumatized?
Dude, I ain't, man.
I think we might have to do a session on that, man.
Dude, I got no smut on this computer, man. I guarantee you that, man. For real. But I just need to break up with this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna get me a new laptop.
Get you a new laptop.
I'm gonna get me a new one.
Sometimes it's okay to let go. It's okay.
Sometimes you have to be willing to let go.
That's a good question. So how do you really know like when it's time to let go or when do you need to put work in? Because in my experience, usually a lot of times, especially nowadays, we give up long before we should because there comes that point where you got to start to fight to, create the relationship. Basically, you got to, everybody has their rough corners, and if you don't get in there and start kind of fighting it out, and fighting is probably not the right term. I would say discussing, because I'm at that point now where I'm like, as soon as the voice raises and they start getting abusive, I'm like, I'm out. I don't have time to deal with this. But there's those times you got to put in, kind of dig your heels and go, okay, we need to talk about this, and we need to have these uncomfortable conversations, especially while you're dating. I saw somebody talk about it, and it makes so much sense. You need to have the uncomfortable conversations while you're dating, so that when you get married, you've already had those conversations. What's your advice with that? No,
I agree. I think, a lot of times you don't want to bring the tough things up, especially when things are going well, because you're like, I don't want to ruin
it's all puppy
this
love
horrible
and butterflies
thing.
and everything.
Yeah. But those tough conversations do have to happen. And I don't know. I mean, I think that there's the obvious ones that might not be obvious to everybody, but emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse. I think those types of abusive behaviors, I mean, I don't know how long you want to wait around to figure out if that's going to change or not. I would probably suggest, reevaluate it real quick. But otherwise, it's like some of those things are just so under the radar. And so you don't know, was this a bad day? Was this, do you have a lot of stress going on? But over and over and over, I mean, if they're not willing to, I'll tell you what, if someone doesn't take accountability for their own actions, they will not change.
Yeah.
They will not change. And so if they blame you, if they twist your words around, Yeah,
we get a lot of that. We see a lot of that out. There's just a lack of accountability across the board.
Right.
And it's really hard. It's like, okay, I want to put myself out there. I want to become the mad scientist and do my dating experiment. And then I get out there, and most of the experiment is just no accountability, no responsibility. It's all projection and kind of gaslighting redirection, where it's like they're
crazy,
taking all their stuff from their past and putting it on you, and then like, here, fix all my stuff. And you're like, I don't got time for that. I'm still trying to work on me. And so having that awareness of like, the trauma bonding and the love bombing and things that happen, because like that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you a little earlier was, when it comes to the trauma bonding, like nowadays I've kind of got to the point almost where when I feel the tingles and the butterflies, I almost run the other way, because I'm like, is that my trauma or is that actually the feels? Like, and how can you tell?
Again, I think it's time. I mean, I think it's paying attention to it, and when you get those feels, it's like you just want to jump in and you want to be with that person all the time, and then you start neglecting the friends, and you don't have that, that Venn diagram with the two circles that kind of overlaps in the middle. So you have to have your stuff, take care of yourself, they're taking care of themselves, and then that balance is in the middle. But if it's overlapping, then it's enmeshed, and you just kind of lose yourself. But then if it's too far apart, if it's too far apart, then you don't have a connection, or at least a deep connection. It's more surface level. So I kind of think of it that way, and you want to make sure that you're taking care of themselves, but that they're also taking care of the good and the bad.
Yeah, there's a difference between fireworks and a campfire. And, the fireworks are entertainment, and they go boom and sparkly, and we ooh, ah, wow, oh, but it's entertainment. Ideally, we get commonly we get caught up in the dating culture today with the fireworks, and we want fireworks, we want the feels, we want the butterflies, we want all that kind of stuff. And okay, that's great. Maybe that's the stuff you kind of get a feel of right out of the gate, but at some point you got to begin to work mutually on the campfire, because that's the stuff that's sustaining. Campfires bring heat, they help you cook, all those kinds of things. And and that's work. It takes two people to keep that thing alive, and it's not entertainment, but it's work. But that work is good work. And so we can quickly get caught up in the boom bang ooh ah wow oh feelings.
Yep.
But at some point we got to get into the nitty gritty, and we got to be both willing to work 100 on this campfire.
Love that. Maybe that's at 6 months when it turns into the campfire and it starts smoking, and you're like, well, we got to fix this. And is everyone showing up to the campfire? And are you doing your work? And are you respecting the work that I'm doing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things. I had a friend of mine who kind of said it just beautifully. He's like, once you got to a certain point, it was, okay, we got through that. Oh, what else can we get through? And then it became almost like, as part of their relationship, how they got through the next thing and then working together. And so that's kind of been one of my like almost green flag key points where I'm like, I want to find somebody like that, where it's like, okay, how are we going to work on this together? We're working on the relationship together, working on ourselves together. And then I heard a quote the other day that was just kind of powerful, and it said like, it's not about me making you happy. It's like, I'm going to make myself the best person I can be for you, and I need you to make yourself the best person you can be for me, and we'll work on this together and support each other in doing that, because this whole you got to make me happy, nobody can make you happy. If you're a miserable person, I don't care what they do for you, you're not going to be happy. You got to do that yourself. And then what I found is, and this is in most good relationships, like it's much easier to make yourself happy when you have somebody who loves you and supports you in making yourself happy versus the other opposite.
That's all that work ahead of time. That's all that therapy work. You know, you got to fix all that. You got to plug the hole in that bucket. You know, you got to plug the hole in that dam, or that dam will break when the water starts to build up behind it. And so, you can't do that for somebody. They got to be willing to do that themselves.
And I think you can see that, when you're with somebody and they're looking for that external reinforcement all of the time, and you just kind of get exhausted because it's like they need you to continue to build them up. And you don't mind at first, but then it's like it kind of goes in one ear and out the other ear because it's not sticking. And that's what I help people with, is try to find their internal sense of self so that everything else is a bonus.
Yeah, I had an experience once that's kind of one of my keystones that I pay attention to now, because I had thrown my back out and I was just literally laying on the floor in front of the TV because I couldn't barely get up. And the girl I was dating or hanging out with, whatever, came over with some like CBD oil, whatever, to try to rub out the pain. And then she got mad at me later on because I didn't say how good she looked or how she was, didn't give her positive reinforcement. I'm like, you came over to help me out, and I'm literally laid out on the floor because my back's out in pain, like on Vicodin and all these painkillers because I can barely walk. And then she's mad at me because I didn't look at her and say, "Oh, you look good." And I was just like, "This is not going to work." Right. But I think that kind of goes to what you were saying. When you need that constant outward validation, then it's more codependence versus interdependence, where it's not about their inner happiness, it's about what they can get from the outside, and then they just basically suck you dry.
Right, exactly.
Then it's like, what can I get from the right person, as opposed to preparing yourself to give to the right person, to work that garden together. And speaking of a garden to work together,
we got to dig it.
Let's dig another garden.
All right, let's dig this garden.
We'll be right back. Mad Men and Masculinity.
Hey, you stayed almost a whole segment that time.
A whole segment?
Almost.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm going to do this GoFundMe, man. We're getting a new laptop, man.
We need some help, y'all.
Yeah, for real.
My man needs some help. He's got duct tape and
HBO,
wires coming
help
out.
a brother out.
Yeah.
Help a brother out. You know what I'm saying? Boom. All right.
Yeah, that online stuff is...
Yeah,
it's brutal. That is snakes and pitfalls.
Well, and that's how most people are meeting people nowadays, because we're all working so much. I mean, cost of living is going up, so everybody's got to work 50, 60 hours a week, and then you're supposed to have a social life and get out there.
Right, and then where do you go? A bar where everyone, I mean, there's places and... Yeah,
it'd be different if you could put on a dating profile the truth,
right?
And then have that be like.
I would almost love to be like, well, I have anxious avoidant attachment style. I'm a recovering nice guy. Just like list all my stuff and be like,
the
there
truth
you go.
Is death. Like the truth is death sentence. In terms of like, this is really who I am. Like I have a good heart, but sometimes I have gas.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I eat ice cream, I get gas.
So how are you gonna...
whatever it is, and especially if it's like, hey, I at this point, I kind of get to know me, and I know what kind of person I'm compatible with, and blah blah blah, and maybe you say, you know what, if from a guy says, you know what, I know I really 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 would love to find a woman that has a strong slant to femininity, and she's feminine in energy and vibe and blah blah blah, and that can be okay, as opposed to, oh, you're a misogynist and or whatever it is. Maybe somebody like, I really vibe with somebody that has a submissive heart.
Maybe we should talk about this on air.
That's not a bad thing. You think?
Yeah.
We are on air.
Well, you know what I mean.
You mean the air?
Air.
Okay, I got you.
Once again, he's giving away the nuggets.
The nuggets. Me and my nuggets, man. I'm just happy to have a computer that's working right now. Truth be told.
I got you. It's been a little stressful.
It has been, man. I'm stressed out. All right. Your boys are back.
We're back.
We are Mad Men of Masculinity.
Right here on KLDC.
12:20 a.m.
in the Mile High City.
And we did not practice that. And on the interwebs,
everywhere,
boom, we just bam, boom, bow.
Well, we've been.
Tami can tell you, we did not practice that before we came back.
Well, some of us have been on the interwebs everywhere. Some of us been intermittent.
Some of us been intermittent on the interwebs everywhere,
doing his ninja stuff,
absolutely,
in and out,
now
hiding in the shadows.
We sitting up here jiving with Tami Kiekhaefer. I'm sorry. I'm just a little narcissistic with her last name because if I just
it's Kiekhaefer, man.
If I just put
Kiekhaefer.
Kiekhaefer.
If I just put a
see how he messes me up? He said Heifer. I said Heifer. I can't take him nowhere.
No, I don't. She helping us prepare for the jungle. Well, she ain't helping me because I'm out of the jungle.
Oh yeah, see, and there's another false belief system. Like, oh, I got mine, so now I got to stop working.
No, I ain't say I stopped working. I can assure you,
I got her now. She's locked up.
If
I
you
got
got
locked down
right now, she would tell you, homeboy is working. She is. I'm working. That's why her back is out.
I have a feeling
I was about to go there.
Get some trouble again.
Go there. We were joking.
Tana's gonna be like, the FCC's calling.
Her back is out, and we had a little.
We were having fun with that. We were having guy talk about it. Yeah,
I'm sure.
But this whole dating thing, we talked about,
but I digress.
Yeah, I'm trying to get off. I was about to say I'm trying to get off my. Anyhow,
okay, Tami, you're gonna have to start talking now.
You're the professional here. Come on, you got initials behind your name. Get us in order.
Please help us out.
Out of control.
I mean, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. All right, here we go.
We can't even keep it straight here.
We can't, man.
Squirrel.
It's just, we are habitual line steppers up here.
So, Tami, when is the best time for someone to start therapy in a relationship, or would you say before a relationship or during a relationship or all of the above?
Probably, anytime really. I mean, because you got to work on yourself. So whether you're in, out, looking, avoiding, I think that there's always work. We're always working on ourselves.
I mean, man, it's a constant process, maybe.
I felt like she looked at me when she said avoiding. I don't know why. Yeah. Maybe I was being a little self-conscious.
She knows enough already that she's come to some clinical conclusions about you, man.
Well, I'm always
about
working.
The deal. But, and we were talking about this during the break, and I got chastised for not talking about this on the air.
No, let's talk about it on the air.
You chastised me, man. I feel chastised right now.
See, this is our communication we need to work on, because I was just giving some what I thought was advice, but now you feel chastised.
Now we got contentment going on.
Yeah, now we got resentment.
I was talking about the online dating journey, and again, I'm not opposed to online dating. Again, my wife went online, but it'd be nice if when you have a dating profile, if you could just be truthful and be honest and have that be okay, and somebody just you can jive with you or not. It's like, here's the music. Can you dance to this or can you not dance to this? Here's especially. Those of us that, have kind of, I know me and I know, and I think most people can probably be flexible, most reasonable people. But at the same time, it's like, I know I'm an extrovert. Most of the time, two extroverts don't get together. I am I'm a budgeter. So most of the time, I'm going to end up being with a spender. I mean, these are things that I might know about myself. And if I could just put some things like this, I have a tendency to gravitate towards women with a submissive heart. I tend to be a leader in a relationship. That should be okay, as opposed to because I say things like that, I got to be a misogynist. Right. And these are examples, hypothetical, but either way, I don't know that the dating culture is just being honest up front.
That's too bad. I guess that's that insecurity and that fear of rejection. So. Yeah, I think that people, and you want to put your best foot forward, but I think it's gone so far where people can't be honest about who they are and what they like and what they don't like. But I think that's all coming down to insecurities.
Being able to put on a dating profile, I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Yes.
You
other brothers can't deny.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm telling you, we just got the great idea. We're going to start the Truth dating app, and it's basically going to be all your traumas, all of your personal development work, all the stuff, and you just put it out there, and then people who actually can take it, who actually have a truth bone in their body and understand that that's more courageous and more brave than anything else, and we just need to start the Truth dating app and then just put it out there, and then maybe, because at least that way you're saving time. You can be like,
exactly,
all these fake pictures and AI photos and all these fake this and that, and then I mean, we talk so much about one of the reasons. It's not like I'm completely anti-online dating. I mean, basically that's all we almost have nowadays. But it's just 80% of men are seen as unattractive by ladies on dating apps. All men basically just swipe right on everybody just so they get some kind of attention. And then a lot of times the ones they pick up are, their pictures are fake, or they're trying to get some money, or there's some scammer in India trying to get some gift cards or something like that. So it's just one of those things that it's the outlook is not good, and so a lot of times it's just depressing to go, oh, now, like you were saying, get out there and do the experiment. It's like, that just sounds so hard.
You know what? Have you heard of meetup.com?
Yes.
Or the meetups? I mean, I think that might be even better, because you're already showing up for something that you like, and then you have something in common. There's a little bit of structure around it. You're not the only one, and maybe people can be a little bit more like themselves.
Yeah, see, people, we didn't coach her at all. She said the same thing we've been telling y'all for a while. Get out there and do stuff around people. Yeah. I mean, we've had friends who run singles groups and things like that, and it's about just activities.
Yeah.
So it's not weird. Like, I will never ever go to a speed dating thing, because that's just weird.
And at the same time, even in those circles, man, if you go there broken, then you're still going to have the same results, the same outcome, the same all that kind of stuff. If you don't get your poop in a group before you even get there, then it ain't going to work out right. And so you can't bring dysfunctionality and think you're just going to focus on the fun in dysfunctionality.
Yeah.
Don't work that way. Before we get out of here, Tammy, I've been curious. I've been sitting on this question of curiosity.
His curious questions are
two-parter, 1A and 1B. Can you, through your experience, what you see, anecdotal experience, what kind of things are men off track on in terms of entering into the dating and relationship world, and what kind of things are women off track? Off track is basically, just my way of saying how are men jacked up and how are women jacked up in the dating and relationship world today in this culture?
I think, the first thing that came to my head was expectations. I think that people...
So specifically men and then specifically women. Hopefully.
Okay.
It's a challenge.
I might go Okay, let's just talk about men first.
Okay,
so I think that they probably go in and want a lot of validation, because it's scary to get out there. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Did you want me to call? And because they don't know, how is this going to be received? And, I've got 2 kids. I've got 2 boys. They're going to be 18 and 20. And they're getting out there in the dating world, and we talk a lot about dating and how conversations start and where they go. And I'm sure they don't tell me everything, which is okay. But I think that there's a lot of pressure to do it right. And then I think that, like you said, it's probably men are swiping to get more content in their whatever results, whatever. But I think that, so probably expectations in that sense, and then wanting to get that positive feedback, like I'm doing okay. And I think that for women, I think they're confused as well, actually, because it's like, I want you to open my car door, but I don't open my car door, I'll open my own car door. Or, I'm picking up the check. No, I'm not going to let you pay, because now I'm going to owe you something. And so I'm going to pay for my own meal, So I think it got confusing. And while I'm definitely, women, stand up for yourself, show up for yourself, have your boundaries. I think that for men to get out there in the dating world, I think that there's a little bit of hesitancy out there, because they just aren't really sure if they're doing it right.
Well, yeah, we had Chloe Stiller, who wrote Modern Manhood, and that was one of the things she talked about after the Me Too movement, and then a lot of the feminist movement, stuff like that. Like, it's bleak out there, and guys are just like, I don't even know if I want to play this game anymore. And it's like, to your point, yeah, we just want a little bit of like, yeah, okay, that's good. But we don't get that because we're supposed to be mind readers and know everything, and then if we say the wrong thing and don't know it, then we can be canceled or brought up on whatever charges. And we see it left and right and center where because maybe she, like to your point, she's confused and she doesn't quite know what she wants, and then so the guy's just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and then she doesn't like that one thing, and so now you're in trouble. And so yeah, there's a lot of guys out there. I mean, we just did an episode on 33% of men nowadays are just out. They're just done. They're not even trying to date because they don't see, the juice is worth the squeeze anymore. And so, having someone like you on to go, okay, there is hope, but you might need a little help.
Well, and I think that's where ask the question, ask the question. Are you in this dating thing are you looking for something serious? Are you looking for a hookup? What are you here for? I mean, why not ask the question? Or if you're not sure, if I pick up the check, just have a conversation about it. But I think if you go into it and you make assumptions about what you think the other person is thinking, that they're thinking, that you're thinking, where's that going to go? I mean, it's just going to be a mess. And then you've got all these assumptions. So I think they've got to know their audience too. Yep. For men and women, just read body language. If you go to grab someone's hand and they put their hand in their pocket, they probably don't want to hold your hand. So stop trying.
Yeah, get your hand out of my pocket.
Yeah.
I love what you said earlier. You dropped it in really quick, but, in terms of the initial first impressions, somebody could be nervous on a first or second date, and they might act or do something or say something out of that nervousness and just kind of discomfort. So to some degree, maybe it is good to give people time, to settle out. When you take off from the airport on the airplane, it takes a little time before you actually get to any kind of cruising altitude before the plane levels out. So I love the whole idea that somebody might act or react in a moment out of nervousness or some other kind of idea.
Maybe it's 3 dates.
Yeah.
The first one is showing up and you're nervous. The second one is just kind of checking in. And then the third one, you're actually showing up like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, that's why we're proponents of the activity dates, because you can go out and do things that are fun, and you can kind of see how they are when they're having fun, and then you get a better idea. Go sit across the table from a stranger in a restaurant and try to hold a conversation. It's just nerve-wracking and it's awful. And so, get out there and try to have fun. Mm-hmm. And, there is hope out there, but you might need some therapy first. So call Tami, read her book, make sure you get on one of her programs, and, get some help, people.
And it's an online course, too. So if you are a non-leader,
you don't even have to leave your house.
Yeah, you don't even have to leave. You can do it on your own time. I'm right there with you. We go through videos.
I noticed you have workbook stuff in here.
It's all a workbook.
You got the mastering your routine, your 6 daily actions. This is like practical kind of stuff.
Well, and because you read a book and then you're like, oh yeah, this sounds good, and then I'm gonna go out and do it, but then you never do because you don't know how to apply it.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is all about you figuring out how this fits into your life, and that's how you make it unique. And then you do the workbook and.
Okay, we're gonna have you back on to talk us through the workbook, because that's what we need. We need, especially for the guys like to do. Yeah. We're like, okay, give me the information, but now what to do? And I think that's the biggest thing. So,
and all of the workbook stuff has a little extra stuff on the side of the page. By the way, you can find all those all the work pages. See, I'm on this, man.
Look at this guy.
I went to public school, but he know
how to read too. He reads words as this.
Kind of. Funny thing is, when I read letters and numbers flip around, and my hardest trouble is when there's two vowels next to each other, and your last name has that twice.
I have a lot. Yeah.
So that's why that's my excuse for messing up your last name all the time.
That's why it's Kiekhaefer.
And I have no excuse.
That's actually why I did throw that in.
So before we get off of here, what do you have going on? What are any new offerings you got going on? And how can people find you?
Yeah. Probably the best way is on my website. It's healthyhealing.net. But I've got the book. It also is an online course where you can, take your time, and I work with you as you're going through the course. So we have a couple phone calls throughout, and I'm there for asking questions and sort of giving you that guidance. On Facebook, I've got a Facebook group called the Relationship Revolution. And it's for women. I had a men and women in the same relationship group, and people weren't talking, so I had to separate that out. So I started with the women's group. But that's all about becoming empowered. And then I also have a Facebook group that's it works with people with anxiety, because I think anxiety is a huge factor behind not showing up in a relationship, and it can take a relationship down. And that's Overcoming Waves. It's a long name. Overcoming Waves of Riptides of Anxiety. Just look up. It's all on my website.
That's all. Speaking of websites, holla at your boys, madmenradio.com. Check us out. KLDC 1220 AM in the Mile High City. Saturdays at 8 a.m. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And until next time, Mad Men
out.